Alright, so this is the Asus TUF F15 from 2021. This is the model that comes with the Intel Core i5 11400H CPU and the RTX 2050 GPU. And the most interesting part about this laptop right now is its price. This retails for 56,000 rupees on Amazon right now for the 8GB RAM model, and for that price, this is a very capable laptop for gaming, for video editing, and just doing normal day-to-day tasks. I've been using this laptop as my main machine for the past month, and I want to share my experience with you guys. This is going to be my full review, so starting from the little things like how good is the keyboard, how's the speaker quality, the webcam, the trackpad, to the major stuff like how good is the display and what's the performance like. I've tested a bunch of games on this one as well, so I'll share the FPS numbers with you guys. But if you're looking for a gaming laptop that's under 60,000 rupees and performs good, you should watch this video till the end. But with that being said, my name is Yusuf, you guys are watching Tech Droids, and this is my full review of the Asus TUF F15. So starting off with the unboxing experience, inside the box you get the laptop itself, you get a 150 watt power adapter and the power cable. You have a bunch of documentation, but that's pretty much it for the unboxing experience. It's very straightforward. Now, just like any other review on my channel, I want to start off by talking about the design and build quality of this laptop. It's very similar to the Asus TUF A15, which I reviewed a few years ago on this channel. It's made out of plastic, but it's very sturdy, high quality plastic. This is military grade build quality in my opinion, and I think it's going to be very durable if you want to take it around to college or to office, wherever it is. You can put it in your bag and it should be able to take the daily wear and tear very easily. It's not that thick, it's only 24.5 millimeters in terms of the thickness at its thickest part, and 2.3 kilograms in terms of the weight. And on top you've got the TUF Gaming logo, the dotted texture, as well as the aluminum brush finish. Although this laptop is completely made out of plastic, they've tried to mimic aluminum brush finish on the top. But overall, in my opinion, the design and build quality of this laptop is actually very good. And the hinge on this laptop is also very nice. It's a very high quality hinge. There's very less wobble, and again, it is a heavy laptop, so you can't really open it with one hand. But overall, the design and build quality in my opinion is really good. Now, doing a quick little overview on this laptop, starting off with the ports. On the left side, you've got your power in port, Ethernet jack, HDMI 2.1 port, two USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, and also a Type C port. There's also a headset jack, and this is a combo jack for headphones and microphones. On the right side, you've got a lonely USB 3.0 port. That's it, and you've got your exhaust vent. And there is the sports car exhaust on the back. On the bottom, you've got your rubber grips as well as ventilation and two speaker units. Now, we'll talk about speaker quality later on in this video, but that's pretty much it for the overview. And on the top, next to the TUF Gaming branding, you've got your LED indicator lights for things like power, charging, flight mode, and battery. It's very intuitive. You can, get a glance of the information about your laptop without actually opening it. So it's a really nice feature in my opinion. Now, once you open up the laptop, you're greeted with this 15.6-inch display, which is Full HD in terms of the resolution and 144 Hz in terms of the refresh rate. It's got a peak brightness of 250 nits, which is good enough for indoors. It gets plenty bright for indoor usage, and it's also got an anti-glare panel. So if you have a bunch of lights around you, it's not going to give away too many reflections, which is good. You don't want distractions while gaming. And it's a very good panel for gaming in my opinion. You've got smooth refresh rate, and things like Valorant, Counter-Strike can take advantage of that. You'll get a competitive edge over your opponents. As good as it is for gaming, it's not very color accurate. So I don't really suggest this laptop for, serious color grading work or things that are very color sensitive, things like photo editing. You can edit videos, you can edit photos on this. There is no performance barrier here, but if you are looking for color accurate panels, I would suggest you go with the Asus VivoBook series. They've got OLED panels and the color accuracy on those is much better. This is geared towards gamers and just, doing normal stuff, not very color sensitive work. Now, talking about normal stuff, watching videos and, movies on this laptop is also very fun. Use headphones though. The speakers on the laptop are average. If you're sitting by yourself alone in a room, it should be fine, but otherwise you should be using headphones. And talking about speaker quality, here's the speaker test. So that's how the speakers on the laptop sound. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Now also, the laptop on top has got a 720p webcam, and here's the webcam test. This is a webcam test of the ASUS TUF F15. This is how the video looks from the 720p camera that's built into this laptop. This is a 720p 30fps clip. That's why the motion isn't the smoothest. And also, this is how the audio sounds from the inbuilt microphones. The laptop does support AI noise cancellation, so in case there is any background noise around you, it'll try to cut it out. I think it's pretty decent for online classes and Zoom meetings and stuff like that. If you're doing things on Google Meet, it'll get the job done. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what do you guys think about the video and audio quality of this webcam. But with that being said, let's move on with the review. Alright, so the webcam and speakers out of the way, I want to talk about the performance. Talking about the specs, you've got an Intel Core i5 11400H CPU. This is the 11th generation CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads. And it's got a base clock of 2.7 GHz and a boost of 4.5, which in my opinion is actually a very good CPU. It's a very capable CPU in my opinion, and it's paired with 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz RAM. This is DDR4 RAM, and it is upgradable. There is 2 slots on this laptop, so you can upgrade up to 32 gigabytes. There is an 8 gigabyte RAM model available as well as a 16 gigabyte RAM model available. You can buy the 8 and add another 8 from the market, or you can just buy the 16 gigabyte to start with. There is also 512 gigabytes of PCIe NVMe SSD here. This is a Gen 3 SSD, and this is also upgradable, so there's an extra slot and you can go up to 2 terabytes if you wanted to. So specs wise and upgradability wise, in my opinion, this laptop is actually very good. And for the GPU, you've got the NVIDIA RTX 2050 with 4 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, and it supports all the latest features like DLSS, ray tracing, as well as it's got the dynamic boost feature. So as a whole, this is a really good GPU. It takes 55 watts of power in general while gaming, but if the dynamic boost is activated, in total the RTX 2050 on this laptop can take 70 watts. As they have mentioned on the product page, this is a 70 watt TGP RTX 2050, unlike other laptops which are cut down. So you're going to get the full performance here. And talking about performance, here are the benchmark numbers. I did Geekbench as well as Cinebench R23. So in Geekbench 6, the single core and multi-core scores were actually very good for the price, and even in Cinebench R23 you're getting a very decent score. But benchmark numbers are just numbers and they don't tell you the full story. In terms of performance, just doing day-to-day tasks like watching videos, email, browsing, all that kind of stuff, if you're attending online classes, doing office work, all of that works flawlessly without any issues. Now talking about gaming, this laptop in my opinion is actually very good for 1080p gaming. If you're playing competitive esports games like CSGO or Valorant or CS2 now, all of that should work flawlessly. You will be able to get really good frame rates. You should even be able to use an external monitor that is 165 Hz or 240 Hz and make full use of that, since the laptop can push out good FPS on games like Valorant and Counter-Strike. But if you wanted to play AAA titles, more demanding games, you'll be able to do that as well. But in my opinion, this is more of a medium settings to high settings laptop. You can't really crank everything to ultra. Talking about benchmarks, here they are. So I started my benchmarks with Valorant, which is a very popular esports title. I set the resolution to 1080p and the settings to max, and I was able to get easy 235 FPS average. The gaming experience was really smooth, and I think if you connect an external monitor to this, you can actually play some serious Valorant on this laptop. The game is really smooth even at the max settings, and if you want even more FPS, you could maybe put the settings to medium, but Valorant in my opinion was really good on this laptop. The next game that I tested was God of War. Again, setting the resolution to 1080p and using the original preset that's built into the game, I got about 60 FPS, sometimes dipping to about 57, 55 FPS. It was a good playing experience, but then I realized that God of War is one of those games that does support DLSS technology, so I turned on DLSS and got an instant increase in FPS, going up to 70 FPS, 75 FPS. So if you are playing God of War, you can use DLSS to get really good playing frame rates. But again, without DLSS, the frame rates were about 55 to 60, but with DLSS, the FPS does go up to 70. The next game on our list is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I set the resolution to 1080p again and the graphics preset to medium with anti-aliasing also set to medium. I ran the in-game benchmark and got a result of 63 average FPS. Again, this is really good in my opinion because Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a demanding title, so it's going to be a playable experience in my opinion, and you can tone down the settings even more if you wanted to get more FPS. Moving on to a slightly newer title, I tested Far Cry 6. Again, the resolution set to 1080p and the in-game graphics quality set to medium. I got an average FPS of about 71 inside the in-game benchmark. Again, really good results for a laptop that's under 60,000 rupees. Far Cry 6, the experience is really good. The game is very smooth, looks good, and in terms of just the overall smoothness, I really like this result. Next up, I wanted to test something more demanding, so I went on to Cyberpunk 2077, and this is one of those games that supports ray tracing as well as DLSS. Now, starting the game with ray tracing off, at medium settings, 1080p, I was able to get an average FPS of about 50, which again, being playable, it isn't the best result. But again, when you turn on DLSS, you're able to get an average FPS of about 70. Now, this laptop just has a RTX 2050 and a i5 11400H CPU, which is slightly older, so I am not really surprised by the results in Cyberpunk 2077, this being a very demanding title. So yeah, if you don't want to use DLSS, the results aren't that great, but with DLSS on, I think the FPS numbers are actually very playable. Now, the last game on my list was Forza Horizon 5, which is one of my favorite racing games. And again, setting the resolution to 1080p and the graphics quality to medium, I was actually able to get some really good FPS, an average FPS of 90, and the max FPS is about 115. And the game is very playable, looks amazing, and you could actually play this game at high settings and still get over 60 FPS. And this is a really enjoyable experience, especially with the steering wheel if you have one. And yeah, I totally recommend you guys try out this game. Now, talking about ray tracing performance in games, the RTX 2050 actually surprised me. I thought it was going to be really bad at ray tracing, but the 2050 is pretty capable. It can do some decent ray tracing in games like Spider-Man Miles Morales or Cyberpunk 2077. But you have to use DLSS. When you use DLSS, it works like magic. You can crank up the ray tracing settings to low or medium and get some decent playable numbers. Actually 60 FPS in Spider-Man Miles Morales with DLSS on. So in my opinion, the 2050 is actually not a bad card. And for things like video editing and gaming, it's pretty sufficient. And considering the price, which is 56,000 rupees, the laptop's performance is actually very good. Now, something that's gonna help you with the experience is the keyboard and trackpad. Talking about the keyboard, it's a full-size chiclet keyboard with single zone RGB, and you can customize the RGB on this laptop. You can change the colors, the brightness. There's a bunch of effects. You will be using the ROG, Armoury Crate software that's available in this. So ASUS Armoury Crate for all the customization as well as monitoring. Now, talking about the trackpad on this laptop, it's not the biggest when it comes to the size, but it's got physical clicks as well as it supports all the gestures, and it was very smooth and accurate while tracking, and I didn't have any issues or complaints while using the trackpad. So the keyboard and trackpad on this laptop are actually very good. In terms of software on the laptop, you get Windows 11 out of the box. There is some bloatware, things like McAfee antivirus, a bunch of ASUS apps. If you don't want antivirus software, you can get rid of McAfee, but one big advantage you get here is that you get free Microsoft Office 365 lifetime license included with this laptop. So in terms of software, that's a good advantage. And Windows 11 gets updated very frequently, and the experience is getting better. They fix all the bugs and stuff, so I don't really have any complaints here. Now, talking about battery life on this laptop, you've got a 48 watt hour 3-cell lithium ion battery here, and this is a gaming laptop, so don't really expect any extraordinary battery life here. And you cannot use the USB Type-C port for charging. That's Thunderbolt 4, so only display port as well as data transfer, so it cannot be used for charging. You will have to use the normal DC in jack. And the laptop does support fast charging. It comes with a 150 watt power adapter, and the power cable is also included in the box. Overall, the battery life isn't that great. You can get 2 to 2.5 hours at max. If you're doing anything intensive, if you're playing games or the display brightness is too high, you're going to get even less battery life. So you have to be plugged in at most times, or use power efficiency settings that are inbuilt into Windows, and as well as the ROG Armoury Crate software that also has a bunch of performance profiles. So if you do take all the options, you can save a bunch of battery life. But even after all that, don't expect too much battery life here. If you want the best performance, if you want to do gaming or video editing or any intense task, you have to be plugged in. And if you're doing normal tasks like watching videos or email or browsing the web, you can do it on battery life. Alright, so that's my review of the ASUS TUF F15 2021, the model that comes with the i5 11400H CPU and the RTX 2050 GPU. As I said, for 56,000 rupees, this is a really good laptop. The value for money, the bang for buck is actually unbeatable at this price point right now. And if you're looking for a gaming laptop that's under 60,000 rupees, do check this out. I'll leave the link in the description down below, and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on future uploads. Like this video if you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions or queries, do leave them in the comment section down below. I'll be there replying to you guys. Also, purchase the laptop from my link. It helps the channel out. But with that being said, my name has been Yusuf. You guys have been awesome. Stay awesome. Keep smiling. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.